Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I am so excited for today's conversation. I am joined by Amber Griffiths, and we are going to be talking about expanding your impact with speaking. Now, we're also going to be talking about stepping into being a legend. We've got some really great stuff lined up for today, but I know that so many of the people that I have been talking with lately, as we're looking ahead at the new year and at the strategies people want to be focused on, speaking is a big part of that. So, Amber, I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited to dive in and learn all of your incredible magic and wisdom about leveraging speaking to make the impact we're here to make.
I love it. Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here.
Great. Let me tell you a little bit about Amber, and then we'll dive into the good stuff. So, Amber is a best-selling author, an international speaker, a brand strategist, and maker of legends. She is committed to showing speakers how to unleash their own speaker moxie, claim every stage that they choose, and increase the impact they make while discovering their path to legend. So, I want to start with, for people maybe who are like, all right, I know I need to do the speaking thing, or I really want to do the speaking thing, but for whatever reason, they have not made the leap into speaking yet in the way that they want to. Are there any tips that you can share with them as to how it's going to help them make the impact that they really want to make, or how it's really going to help them expand their business?
Oh my goodness, so many things loaded up in there. First of all, chances are you're already speaking. I firmly believe there is a speaking component to every single business. So if that's a sales call, if it's one-to-one, if it's over coffee, over Zoom, you're already speaking, sweetheart. You just get to up level the stage if that's really what you want to do. So unplanch and realize you already are a speaker and it's going to be okay. Um, there's there are so many different paths that lead you directly from speaking to income to impact to really making the change that you want to make in the world. So it really is about deciding what stage. The great thing about when I work with speakers is there's no one single way that this is how you have to do speaking. Like branding, like everything else I do when I work with people is let's figure out the ways that light you up. Let's figure out the way that is most natural for you, and then we just expand on that. And it's not a linear path. There's so many different levels and layers that it's very constellation. So we'll figure out the best way for you. Just start speaking. Don't question it, test it. Get up on a stage, get up in front of 5 people, 10 people. You may not want to keynote the first thing out the door because that's a lot of pressure and you want to make sure your systems are behind you to get you paid for that keynote. But really, it's going to be okay. You've got this.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's so much gold in what you just said in that very first one. I can't wait to hear what you have to say next. But the thing that I really especially loved is when you said, don't question it, test it. And I think so often people get stuck in their head and they get stuck in the questioning and the trying to figure everything out. And I love that you shared that because I think the quicker we take action, the quicker we look at it as a test, as an experiment, the less pressure we put on
Absolutely.
ourselves and the quicker we get to see what do we like, what don't we like,
Yes.
what works, what doesn't. So that's brilliant.
Oh, I love that. They come to you and say, "Well, what if it fails? What if it's terrible?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what if? The first time it's going to be so rotten." But there's also going to be so many pieces of it that are so amazing. Because when you realize that your passion is just like, that that is where you light up, is on stage in front of people, the magic that is released from within you is just it's palpable and it so outweighs anything that went sideways. So it's all good. Just jump. You're going to be fine.
I love that. Today, I'm pretty good on stages. I'm pretty comfortable. I don't get nervous, but my gosh, I remember back to the very first time that I had to be on a stage. I won this award for United Technologies Company. And I had to stand up in front of everybody and do kind of like the thank you so much. Here's what me and my team did to win the award. I
Wow.
was so nervous. I don't think I even remember most of it. All I remember is I talked so fast. I speed talked through the entire thing just to try to get it over with as quickly as possible so I could get off the stage. It took me a lot of iterations and a lot of tries to be semi decent on stage, let alone good on stage.
Like, slow it down. The people need to be able to understand you speaking, sweetheart. It's okay. Take a breath in between sentences.
Oh gosh, I kinda wish I had a video of that. Part of me is happy I don't, but a video of that would be very entertaining.
Look how far you've come. That's what that video is.
Alright, so how about those who have been speaking? Maybe they have been speaking in a lot of different ways, and they wanna really up their game as they look forward into the new year. They're like, "You know what? I really feel like speaking is gonna be a key part of my strategy here." Are there
Yeah.
any specific things that you see working really well or that you would encourage people to integrate into what they're planning or what they're doing?
Absolutely. One of the things, again, because everyone is in a different path there and they're on a different place on that path. So sometimes they come to me and they need a lot of branding support. They need to flesh out their messaging and a lot of their visibility and where are you being seen. And sometimes they come, they're like, I've got so much of my stuff put together, but I'm not getting paid the way I want to, or there's too much of an ebb and flow in my speaking. I have 6 engagements in the next 5 weeks, and then I will have nothing for 90 days. How do I make that so I'm not crazy person and frantic? So it really kind of depends on where they're at. One good fail safe that is always a good idea is to show up as yourself. And I know it's so cliche, and there's so many people who think, no, no, Amber, I'm totally myself. I'm totally vulnerable. Yeah, except that you're not. If you're not being unforgettable when you get off stage, there's things that we can do. One quick way, it's a legendary signature 9 point test, but I'll just give you the one that's really super easy. Go back and look at your last email, your last blog, your last social post, your last whatever written form you created. Remove your logo and your name. Now read it out loud. Can I feel that it's you? Can I tell it's coming from you, that it's coming directly to a specific person? Have somebody else read it if it helps. But honestly, I've never met anybody who can't, when they start reading it out loud, they're like, well, that could be about anything from anybody from anywhere. Like, yeah, yeah. Let's go back and if it helps, because we get so clenched when we write, especially if you're a speaker, writing is not your number one form. So we have a tendency to get so clenched up so tight that we cut off circulation to our personality. So write it and then go back to the top and re-inject your personality that you have managed to cut out. It's part of that write, drunk, edit, sober kind of a thing. And whatever drunk is for you, sometimes it's just loud music because it turns off the sensors in your brain. But just free flow write, then go back and make sure you're showing up. The other thing I would tell you is be super picky about your stages. And yes, that means in the beginning. I don't care if you've had one stage or 10,000. You get to be really picky about your stage and not just, am I getting paid? Not just, could my audience be here? But like, there's 20 different questions we can ask ourselves once we get on there that really will help you elevate your speaking in general and become further on that path to becoming unforgettable and becoming legend.
Yeah, that's so good. And it's funny because I know I spent a lot of years, over 20 years, working with big corporate clients. And I bet a lot of you listening have worked with corporate clients or maybe had a corporate job at some point in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
usually, what you're told is you want to strip most of the personality out of things. You're used to PowerPoint presentations, pulling it down to the like bare data only. In emails, if
Right.
there's too much character or too much something in it, you get the, hey, this really needs to be a little more serious.
Right.
And so if you've had that conditioning, it can be so hard to put it back in. Like I still
Yeah.
struggle with that sometimes because I've had that conditioning for so many years. And I've always
Absolutely.
kind of pushed the boundaries of that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's just so deeply conditioned. So any tips for those of us who have corporate trauma and still
You're a recovering corporate individual. Yes, yes. Um, Make sure you have a list of isms. those things that you say always in a certain way for certain situations. I know I have a pile of Amberisms, so you should have a folder of Kristaisms where those should be showing up, because you know if you were to speak that email, if you were to speak that presentation, it would be loaded with those natural flow ways that you speak. Make sure those are in there. Have a VA, have somebody in your team go back and say, okay, there's one in this 10-point PowerPoint, 10-page presentation. I have one ism that's not enough. I mean, it can be that mathematical. So do that. Absolutely. Make sure your isms are showing up. And here's the thing, content is great, but you've got these big businesses getting bigger and small businesses using AI to try to catch up. And really, all of that information, all that content, I can Google that. What I can't Google, what I can't have AI help me with is the experience of you. If I read your email, I should be able to feel like I just had a 45-second conversation with you, like I just witnessed you speak from stage in a way that was just to me. So let yourself be seen, let yourself, if you have to speak it and then pull the transcript to make it written. The only reason I had a blog for years is because I did Facebook Lives. I could not write. I would censor. I would get stuck. I would edit like crazy. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just take my Facebook Lives and do the transcript, because I will speak at length and it's more natural and it flows better. So try that. Say it out loud as you're writing it and say, oh, is that how I would say that? Oh my gosh, that doesn't sound like me at all. And flip it. Yeah.
I love that. I used to do the same. I am so much better live. So I would just talk into my thing and send it to my team. My team would record our meetings and they would go through. And now with AI, like there's just so many tools that make it so easy to take the transcripts. And if you all listening have not yet used Cast Magic, it is one of my
Oh,
favorite things on earth. But we
it's a
put
happy
our
little
team
thing.
meetings in it. Never mind just this podcast. We put everything in it, and it pulls out all your talking points and it pulls out everything. It's brilliant. So if you have not used that one yet, that's your
It's
public
great for
service
course
announcement.
creation. Yes. Great for course creation. You're welcome.
Um, but that being said, there's a couple words that you've said that I want to dig into. So you said unforgettable. And I think we
Yeah.
all want to be unforgettable, whether we're sending an email, whether we're speaking on stage, whether we're speaking on a podcast, whatever it is, we want to be unforgettable. But the other word that you said that I absolutely love is experience. Because I think if we can
Mm,
create a really amazing experience, it helps us be unforgettable. So,
absolutely.
how do you recommend people do that? I know this is part of your secret sauce. So, how do you help people create those completely unforgettable experiences that matter and so they're really remembered?
Oh, I love that. I got chills when you were saying that, so I know there's some gold there. I can tell there's magic. Yes, you're absolutely right. You have to be able to deliver that experience, consistent experience, to become unforgettable. Think of, I always go back to music because I love music and live concerts are my favorites. You go and it's not because you've never heard the song before, or like you can sing along with them. You know the next words they're going to sing. They're your favorite singing band. You can sing with them. And if they mess up, you know it. You go anyway, over and over and over again, because it feels different every time. It feels different when they're on the stage. It feels different depending on who you are with. If it's an outdoor arena, if it's an indoor arena, it is all about that experience. So without, and I could reveal all the secret sauce, but honestly, we just don't have the time. But here's what it comes down to. Your brand is not this static thing. It goes so far beyond your logo font colors. And those of you in business more than 5 or 6 years, you know that even if your stuff doesn't. Your brand is your visuals, your language, your mannerisms, your it's the experience with you. So knowing that your brand is a living, breathing entity, when you can show up on stage so real, so vulnerable, so raw, so truly there for your audience, it's no longer about your audience, or it's no longer about you. It is about your audience. So if you're afraid of it, those of you just getting started, realize that when you get in that space and make it about your audience, it's not about you, it's all good. But when you can see them in a way that they feel seen, and that is speaking to what they actually need. I have yet to walk into an audience and go, hey, should we all take notes for 3 hours? Does that sound like a good use of our time? Should we do that? I mean, if that's the case, just leave your recording device on the table and get out, and I'll just push play on mine. We can go get ice cream or something. So It's about delivering that experience for them. Because that way, when you show up that way and they're like, I see her, I know she sees me. She's giving me what I need. She's speaking to not the scary pain points or whatever, but she's speaking in a way that I'm like, not only is that my big dream, but oh my gosh, I could get it. Like I could get it now. They breathe you in. It helps them change the way they think, even if just for a minute. And you cannot get the toothpaste back in that tube. Like it's like letting the smoke out of a battery. You cannot get that back in there. Once they have thought differently just for a minute, that's that transformation we all crave. And you become unforgettable to them. That's how you do it.
Brilliant. Now, I want to pivot a little bit into
Okay.
talking about the whole legend piece of the work you do because I think you were just kind of getting at how you you get there a little bit. But I know you're considered the maker of legends, which
Mhm.
what a cool title, can I just say? I
Right?
really love that. Um, but as that, how do you define legend and why do you feel that it is so important?
Okay. This one's big in my little world. I've worked with speakers and I've done branding for 20 plus years and then corporate before that. Here's the thing, if you want to be seen and you want to be known and you want to be visible to a lot of people, you can become a celebrity. If you want to be seen and remembered and known for a specific thing, for a kind of way that you do things or a certain topic or a certain area of work, you can move into icon status. So many of the beautiful souls I get to work with are creating something greater than themselves. It's why I have legends that take center stage. I have legends that sit in the back and move all the strings and move all the pieces and play with all the people, and they will never have their face on stage. But they are still legends. They will become legend in that as they move the movement and their mission forward. Legends are creating something. We've heard of lock arms. Legends are not made on their own. That's not how it works. So a legend really does collaborate and build a community because they can't get the message out there by themselves. It's not even feasible. You create that community, you lock arms, you lock hearts and souls, and you move forward to change the world. And that's legend. That's how the world gets better. It's one brave legend pushing that mission and that message forward with her community. It's one at a time. But when you do it as a legend, instead of from behind trying to push that all by yourself, you have this beautiful community. And that ripple effect knows no bounds. And that's how you become legend. And yes, you will be absolutely unforgettable.
That's brilliant. I love that. And I think, I mean, for all of you listening, I'm assuming that that is absolutely what you want to do because who doesn't? Most of us are very impact driven. Most of us have this big, incredible vision in this change that we want to make beyond just the work that we do one on one with people. So, how brilliant is that? And I really love the way that you've defined that and categorized that.
Thank you. I love it. These people are amazing. I mean, they're just the people who have something that they will just move mountains to create. They're incredible people. And they really are making massive change in the world.
So, what do you think keeps people from really stepping into that? People who are listening and saying, that is totally what I want, but and the buts come up.
And the
What
big
do you
old butts.
think?
But what if I fail? But what if I get judged? And again, there's no what if. You will fall back. You will have stumbling stones. You will have to pause on that path, take a breath, and get back up again. You will be judged. That's the whole point. If you can have an audience of 10 or 10,000 and you are so clear about what you value and who you are and what you stand for that they can instantly choose in or out, you win. Like you want that kind of judgment, that instant, that fast. I have people go, wow, she is so not my person. And oh my God, I don't care what it is, I will be in her space. I think that the biggest thing is sometimes we get stuck in the how and we think, who am I to move that forward? Who am I to, yes, this is a big change. Yes, this is my great, big, massive, heartfelt, impact driven mission. But I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can get it out there big enough. And yet, on the flip side of that coin, they're like, if I don't do this, somebody else is going to try to do it and they're going to not do it as well as I do. And it's going to absolutely crush me and break my spirit. So like they have to get out there. Sometimes I think we just don't know the next right step for us because we see other people doing things, but we're like, well, I don't know that I want to do it that way, or I don't know if I could do it that way, or that doesn't feel like me. We just need to know the exact next right step for us, and then we can keep moving forward.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about how you help people do that and about your incredible work and what's coming up next that you're excited about.
Oh, I have the best job in the entire world. Like I said, I've been doing this independently for about 20, almost 20 years, and I wake up excited every stinking day because of the people I get to play with. Really, it depends on where you're at. So sometimes it's I need a lot of branding support. Sometimes it's like my brand, my visuals are good. I need some strategy. If you are a speaker you're not getting paid, you keep waiting for the pay to speak, which, honey, I don't always get paid to speak. I never speak for free. Like there's ways. You should always have those systems. I mean, and I'm speaking to the queen of systems here. You should always have that system in that back end ready to walk them down that path because if you connect with them, you absolutely must offer them a next step, a community, a something of value that can supports the adventure that you've just helped them step into. So that's part of what we do. The other part is being, again, really selective about your audiences, really selective and not just asking can I afford it? Can I get there? Does my schedule allow it? There are 20 other questions we get to ask ourselves before we step onto that stage. What are my potentials there? So we go through all of those and they're all so custom, but really it's, do you want to be on stage in front of 10,000? Do you want a TEDx? Do you want a keynote? Do you want to just be really, really great at the board meeting? So your goal becomes like from here to that is what we create with you. It's not a certain standard. If you've got a book, great. If you've got courses, great. I mean, we just take a whole look in that and bring out the best parts of you that are already there, which is why it's so spectacular. Like at your core, you've got this, honey. Like it's there. We just get to bring it out, put a system behind it so you get paid and make the impact you were meant to make. Yeah. I get a
Fantastic.
little excited. I get a little drooly. I get so excited.
Well, it's so incredibly important. And what I love so much about your work and why I was so excited to have you on the podcast is not just what you do, which I think is magnificent, but I love that you meet people where they're at and you help people go where they want to go. It's not a prescriptive path. It's not a success only looks like a TEDx stage or only looks like this big, massive thing because everybody has different goals. They have different things they're comfortable with right now, and their level of comfort shifts and evolves as they shift and evolve in their business and as they prove to themselves just how ridiculously incredible that they are, which I'm sure you already see when you first talk to them. Um,
It is a superpower.
but I really like that you do meet people very much where they are and where they want to go because I
Absolutely.
think that's so not only important, but often missing in the very kind of cookie cutter, put everybody in a specific box approach that so many people take.
Right. Right. I mean, we've heard that people like that no like and trust factor, right? The trust isn't just, okay, are you giving me a fair price and you're going to give me what I paid for? Can I trust you with me? Can I trust you with my adventure, with my progress, with my process? Can I trust you to just and love me great big on this adventure we're on together? I mean, that trust, that's the part of the trust I think that's really big.
Mhm. So tell people where they can find you. Give us your handles, your all the things.
Awesome. All the things. Okay, so here's the shameless plug. You can find me on LinkedIn under Amber Griffiths. You can find me under Your Brand by Design. You can go to my website, which is Speaker Moxie, MOXY.com, which is really, that's your secret sauce, is that Moxie bringing that all out. In fact, can I give them something? Can I share something with them?
Please.
If you are a speaker or about to be, or think you could be, maybe one day, holy cow, and this could be a speaker, I would love to give you the Moxie Boost checklist. And I'll make sure there's a link, but it's speakermoxie.com/Moxie, MOXY dash boost. It's that simple. Go and find the Moxie Boost checklist. See where you're at. See which parts you're rocking. See which parts you're like, oh, I could probably update that a little bit. And see which parts you're like, I had never thought about that. We should probably have a conversation. Let me get that part put together. So you can find me kind of anywhere.
Great. And of course, all those links will be down below in the show notes. Now,
Thank
Amber,
you.
I'm excited to hear your answer to this question. I ask every
Oh,
guest this, and I'm always so impressed with what people share back. So, how do you work smarter, not harder, and keep things lean in your business?
oh, I have to. This is like saying airing my dirty laundry in front of the master. Um, how do I work lean? One of the things I do is I have boundaries, really strict boundaries. I don't take calls that aren't going to benefit me and benefit that person. If I don't think I can help you, I will connect you with somebody else rather than try to help you when it's so not my genius or so not my area of transformation. I think that's one of the big things because it's such a battle and it's such a it's a $20 a hard way client. It's like your credit card isn't going to fix this situation. We need to get you in front with somebody who can actually help you. That saves me tons and tons of time. I get to stay in my lane. It doesn't dilute my brand at all. I think that's probably one of the big ones. And encouraging people to do the same. Really, it's like, no, you can't do all the things. I don't care if you think you can. Just stop, pick your thing, and do it so incredibly well that you become the authority and the go-to expert. It's going to save you so much time. Yeah, that's one of the big ones.
I love that. I agree wholeheartedly.
Oh,
Absolutely love
good.
it.
I passed.
All right. So, that being said, we're about to round things up, but I don't want to end this podcast without asking you one more question, which
Okay.
is for those who are thinking about leveraging speaking or upping their speaking game next year, are there any final thoughts that you have for them or any final things for them to be considering so that they can really leverage speaking to expand their impact?
Yes. Um, the big one is probably don't select just the pay to speak. There's a lot of money to be had in online ventures. Don't sign up for every summit that comes your way, but just look at how they are marketing it. I've got a couple summits coming up in the new year that I will be looking for speakers for. And it's not your typical summit. This is not your mama's summit. It's really different. Um, and realize that when you go speak, it's not just for clients. Sometimes you get to go find that next gig, that next partnership, that next opportunity to go do something amazing. So don't limit it by could I get a client here?
Smart, super smart. Some of the things that I have done this year for me, my theme of the year was collaborative connections. And
Oh,
so as I made decisions about things to do, I wasn't even looking at direct client impact. I was more looking at can I build relationships with absolutely amazing humans that I might be able to do some cool stuff with? We might be able to
yeah.
kind of refer and support one another, or who knows, maybe it'll lead to a client. But I will tell you, ironically enough, I had more clients this year when I was just purely focused on collaborative connections and relationship building
Absolutely.
than I
That doesn't
normally do.
surprise me at all. You get to focus on what matters. And honestly, that sounds like you're leveraging your influence, which is kind of a legend move, just so you know.
There we go. And so, if you want to make your own legend moves, which I think we all do, definitely check out Amber. Go check out her site. Check out those links below. Get the guide and all of the things. Amber, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate your time and sharing all of your amazing insight and wisdom with us.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, I will see you again next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I hope you got a lot of value and actionable insights from today's show and would love if you take a moment to leave us a review. If you have any questions on today's episode or on how to lean out your business, join us over in our private Facebook community where every week we do live training and Q&A, and I'd love to have you be part of the conversation. Head to leanoutmethod.com/group to join us. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to the show so you're the first to know when we release a new episode. We'll see you next week.